The year is 1912, a time of burgeoning industry, societal change, and a sense of optimism sweeping across America. But beneath the veneer of progress, darkness could lurk, ready to shatter the peace. In the quiet, unassuming town of Villisca, Iowa, a place where neighbors knew each other and doors were often left unlocked, the unthinkable was about to occur. On the morning of June 10, 1912, Villisca awoke to a horror that shattered its peace forever, leaving an indelible stain on the town's history. The Moore family, Josiah, a respected businessman, his wife Sarah, a loving homemaker, and their 4 children, along with 2 young, innocent guests, Lena and Ina Stillinger, who were visiting for the night, were all found brutally murdered in their beds, victims of a savage and incomprehensible act. A concerned neighbor, Mary Peckham, noticing the house was eerily quiet and the shades still drawn long after sunrise, alerted Josiah's brother, Ross Moore, to the unsettling silence emanating from the house. He cautiously entered, only to discover the blood-soaked scene that would forever haunt the town's collective memory. Each victim's head had been mercilessly crushed with an axe, a common tool turned into an instrument of unimaginable horror, the violence so extreme and senseless that it stunned not only the small community of Villisca, but the entire nation. The killer, or killers, moved silently and deliberately from room to room, undetected in the dead of night, dispatching 8 sleeping people, including 6 children, with a cold and calculated brutality. The act was carried out with chilling efficiency, suggesting a level of planning and a disturbing lack of remorse. This was no robbery gone wrong, no simple crime of passion fueled by a fleeting rage. It was something far darker, more methodical, and deeply disturbing, hinting at a motive shrouded in mystery. The town's innocence vanished overnight, replaced by a palpable sense of dread and uncertainty. Trust eroded, replaced by suspicion and fear as neighbors looked at each other with newfound unease. Despite numerous suspects, ranging from traveling salesmen to local figures and countless investigations, the case remained unsolved, and no one was ever convicted for the horrific crimes. The Villisca Axe Murders became a legend, a chilling tale whispered through generations, a haunting reminder of the capacity for evil that can exist, even in the most idyllic settings. It serves as a stark reminder of the darkness lurking beneath the surface of ordinary life, a darkness that can shatter peace and security in an instant. Over a century later, the house where the murders occurred still stands, a silent sentinel overlooking the town, a silent monument to the enduring mystery and the tragic loss of innocence. The question remains, echoing through the years, who could commit such a heinous act? And why were they never brought to justice? The mystery endures. The crime scene, a silent tableau of horror, was filled with bizarre details, a macabre puzzle that has baffled investigators and armchair detectives alike for decades. The sheer strangeness of the scene continues to fuel speculation. Josiah's own axe, wiped down in a clear attempt to remove evidence but still undeniably bloody, was deliberately left near the bodies of the Stillinger sisters, almost as if placed there for a grim display. Every mirror and glass pane within the house was meticulously covered, and in a particularly unsettling touch, the faces of all the victims were shrouded with clean white linens. The killer, after committing such a brutal act, lingered in the house, washing up in the kitchen sink, and inexplicably leaving behind a plate of uneaten food, a bizarre detail that adds to the mystery. Adding to the strange scene, a slab of bacon was also left behind, untouched. Furthermore, Lena Stillinger's body showed disturbing signs suggesting a possible psychosexual motive, a crucial detail that was, unfortunately, overlooked and not fully investigated at the time. The discovery of cigarette butts in the otherwise undisturbed attic strongly suggested that the killer had been hiding there for hours, patiently waiting for the family to fall asleep, completely unaware of the horror that awaited them. The chilling combination of meticulous planning, extreme brutality, and bizarre ritualistic behavior left behind a distinct criminal signature, a dark and disturbing mark that continues to defy any easy explanation or understanding. The investigation was a disaster from the start. Townspeople flooded the house, contaminating evidence and even taking grisly souvenirs. Law enforcement was overwhelmed and unprepared. Experts brought in were often incompetent. Bloodhounds and fingerprinting failed, and crucial clues were lost in chaos. The sexual staging of Lena's body was ignored, and investigators focused on motives like money or revenge. Forensic science was in its infancy, making it impossible to pinpoint the time of death or verify alibis. The killer slipped away, and the case became a tragic lesson in investigative failure. the Villisca murders directly led to reforms in Iowa's criminal investigations. With virtually no concrete physical evidence to examine, the investigation faced an uphill battle from the start. Detectives found themselves grasping at straws, struggling to piece together the events of that horrific night. The case devolved into a seemingly endless parade of suspects and competing theories, each more outlandish than the last. The lack of solid leads meant everyone was a potential person of interest. Reverend George Kelly, a local minister known for his eccentric behavior and documented mental instability, confessed to the crime only to later recant his statement. Despite the initial confession, he was ultimately acquitted after 2 separate trials, leaving lingering doubts in the minds of many. State Senator Frank Jones, a prominent figure in the community and a known business rival of Josiah Moore, was rumored to have potentially hired a hitman to eliminate Moore. But despite persistent rumors and speculation, no concrete evidence ever surfaced to definitively link him to the brutal crime. The gruesome nature of the murders, with the use of an axe, bore a striking resemblance to other unsolved axe killings that had occurred along various Midwest rail lines, fueling the unsettling theory that a transient serial killer, hopping from town to town via the railway system, could be responsible for the horrific act. Henry Lee Moore, a man later convicted of committing similar axe murders in other locations, was briefly considered as a suspect, but investigators were ultimately unable to place him in the town of Villisca at the time of the murders. Other drifters and vagrants passing through the area, such as Andrew Sawyer, were also briefly brought in for questioning and considered as potential suspects, but despite initial leads and lines of inquiry, the trail always frustratingly went cold, leaving investigators empty-handed. Each suspect seemed to fit a particular narrative or theory, offering a tantalizing glimpse of a possible solution, but ultimately, none could be definitively proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And so, the killer remains a faceless phantom, forever lost to the annals of history, their identity shrouded in mystery and speculation. Today, the Villisca Axe Murder House is both a museum and a magnet for ghost hunters. Visitors report unexplained phenomena: children's laughter, moving objects, chilling cold spots. EVP recordings and a 2014 stabbing incident have only deepened the house's haunted reputation. Profilers remain baffled by the killer's contradictory behavior, meticulous planning mixed with bizarre rituals. The lack of motive or clear suspect leaves the case an enduring enigma. The Villisca murders tap into our deepest fears: the vulnerability of home, the randomness of evil, and the terror of an unsolved crime. The house stands as a chilling reminder that some mysteries may never be solved.